Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the railway. Today's review is going to be a bit different from normal, but it is a review of a new van by Dapol. Well, you've picked a good time to tune in because today I'm going to be looking at this, a large bag of Seabrook ready salted crinkle cut crisps. And I am going to be examining these crisps today in perhaps a little bit more detail than you might be expecting, so please be ready for that and don't say I didn't warn you. But I'm sure you're thinking, why? Perhaps not that aggressively, but why? Why is Sam's Trains reviewing a large bag of Seabrook's crinkle cut ready salted crisps? And there is a reason. I'm just trying to think of a way to word it so that it makes some sense, but I'll try. So I did not buy these Seabrook, I'm not going to go through the description again. I did not buy these crisps from a supermarket, I didn't buy them from a corner shop, nor did they come from a train station, which would have been a good guess, but alas, wrong. These actually came from a model shop. Rails of Sheffield, in fact, where these are exclusive. So yeah, you can buy these for £19.95, affiliate links in the description if you're interested, and they do indeed come packaged with a free Dapol model railway wagon in a Seabrook livery. And I do indeed have that wagon here as well to look at today. So this marks an interesting first for me. I don't think I've ever purchased a model railway item that has come with a free item of foodstuff before. I did once get sent a promotional pack for the new Railway Children film, which did come with a severely melted large chocolate penny, which made a huge mess and I had to clear it up, but I didn't pay for that. So this is the first I've purchased. And this is something that Rails of Sheffield have done quite a bit of. They've connected up with a brand of foodstuff. They've produced a wagon, usually by Dapol, in that livery, and then the models have been sold with the piece of foodstuff, which I think is a great idea because two of the things I love most in the world are sort of snacks and food and model railways, so this is the perfect union. Anyway, affiliate links, I can't point, down in the description. And today, yeah, we're going to take a look at the crisps and also the wagon, so hope you enjoy this. It's going to be surreal, possibly, certainly. Let's begin. Alright, so in all seriousness then, I am going to focus on the item here that I am most interested in, and that of course is the crisps. So I have a working hypothesis that Seabrook crisps are slightly superior to the leading brand of crisp over here in the UK, and that is Walker's. And we're going to explore why that is in excruciating detail today. But the first and most obvious reason is price. So I yesterday bought this pack, it's a multi-pack of 6 cheese and onion Seabrook crisps. They are 25 grams each, I believe, although let's find out to be sure, just to be precise. 25 grams, I was correct. Yes, so this cost £1.35, which works out at 23 pence per bag. Now, if you buy the equivalent of this from Walker's, so a multi-pack of 6 cheese and onion Walker's crisps, 25 grams, that will set you back £2 at the time of filming, which is 33 pence per bag, which is about 10 pence more. That's a significant percentage. So Seabrooks are much cheaper than Walker's, and they're also better, in my opinion, although that's subjective, but I will be trying to convince you of that later on. And this is not a sponsored video, these are genuinely my thoughts. Anyway, as you can see, beautiful bag here, excellent decoration. If I flip it over, you can read a little bit about the prototype. Feel free to pause and read that if you want. Then we've got some nutritional information on the side here, including the ingredients. We've also got the weight here, which is a very precise 31.8 grams. So first of all, that tells us this is a larger bag than the ones you get from the multi-pack. So not bad value for £19.95 with the free wagon. And also, because they have been so precise as to include the 0.8 grams there, I might pop the crisps themselves onto the scales a little bit later and see if they really do weigh exactly that. There's also, interestingly, a best before date, which is specifically the 22nd of March 2025 at 3:55. I guess that might be in the morning. And I suppose that is the potential hazard of pairing foodstuff with model railway items like this, because unlike model railway items, the foodstuff does have an expiry date. Nevertheless, I am intrigued by how specific that expiry date is, with the 3 3:55 in the morning. So I would almost be interested to keep one of these crisps behind and perhaps observe it on the 22nd of March early in the morning to see if it does sort of immediately fester in front of my eyes the moment the clock strikes 3:55. Not that my clocks do strike at 3:55, obviously the next strike would be 4, but either way I would be interested. Anyway, let's have a close look. I'm for the first time going to open these crisps. I have to say there is some air in these crisps, perhaps not quite as much as I would have liked. The air, of course, cushions the crisps to stop them getting crushed. So yeah, some feedback there, perhaps a little more air, unless there is an unfortunate hole in this bag which has allowed the air to seep out, but hopefully not. Anyway, the unbagging, and I'm going to do my best to make sure you can see what's going on here. Now, for those who don't know how to open a bag of crisps, I won't judge. Here's my preferred method. Grab a flap of the packet's flesh on each side and pull. And if it's been designed properly, the bag will open very easily. And there are the crisps. Crinkle cut, as promised. Good to see that these are as described. And they certainly are a very pleasing golden colour, which is making me salivate very, very slightly. Hopefully that won't go on the camera. And the smell, because my face is positioned right over the bag, that's actually a very, very pleasing smell. I'm very much looking forward to this. Anyway, I'm not going to consume any of the crisps right now because that would foul my future testing. So I will, with reluctance, put these to one side and do what else I've got to first. Hopefully before these go stale. Hopefully before the, what was it, the 22nd of March or whatever it was. Yes, I should manage that. Right, let's have a look at the other item that came with this bundle. And that was, of course, the Dapple Seabrook wagon, which I do like. You know, this is a great livery, in all seriousness. Let me show you the end of the box. But no label, nothing, which is quite almost spooky, if you ask me. You know, in years to come, when this collaboration between Dapple and Rails of Sheffield is over and the crisps have been eaten, people are going to find this and think, what on earth is it? They may be able to look at the wagon and tell, but they certainly won't be able to look at the end of the box. Anyway, let's open it up, have a look, and then I'm going to consume some of the crisps. Right, so yeah, brilliant red colour. Interesting that they've chosen to very specifically model the sea salted flavour and not one of the others. Does this mean we're going to see cheese and onion wagons in the future? Salt and vinegar? I don't know, but here is the sea salted one. And yeah, it's absolutely fine. The print work looks excellent, better I would say than on previous Dapple UV printed wagons. And this is the very old-fashioned Dapple wagon, so it's certainly nothing modern or detailed, but it has been updated to include NEM couplings now, which means that it will actually work on your railway and be compatible with other modern items of rolling stock. And it's got what I think are Dapple's new wheels, which unfortunately are very wobbly, as you can see there, but hopefully that won't affect the performance. Anyway, with that, let's investigate the crisps a little bit further, and then we'll have some background on the crisp, which is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. I can't express how interesting it's going to be, but I don't have to, because you're going to experience it for yourselves, aren't you? And you're not going to stop watching the video because it's nonsensical. I won't allow that. Anyway, let's begin. Right, let the investigation begin then. Now, unfortunately, my trusty scales here are not going to be suitable for this because they only give weight in, well, mass, let's be precise, to the nearest gram. And obviously, we need a set of scales which can measure to 1 decimal place. Plus, these are dirty, so I don't want to put food near those. So instead, I will introduce my chemist's scales, which have a clean bowl mounted to the top. And these do indeed give weight to 1 decimal place, which is just right. So we're aiming for 31.8 grams. Let's see how accurate that is. There are the crisps. Yes, I have virtually every morsel. And, oh, goodness me. The bad news is they were not accurate. It actually contains 32.88 grams, 2 decimal places. Oh, dearie me. What a treat. So yes, inaccuracy, that's bad. But it is more than promised by, oh, I can't do that maths, by about a gram. Let's say, oh, it seems to be increasing in mass as I talk. It's now 32.9. So over a gram, I can do that maths. That is 1.1 gram more than promised. The other excellent thing about the Seabrook crisps is that you very seldom get a bad crisp or an inedible crisp, which here means burnt. Perhaps it would have a piece of bad spud on board, slight one there, or perhaps a green tinge around the edge. There are very, very few of those here in this pack, which means that you can actually enjoy more of the crisps than you would if you'd have to sort of break a bad bit off and put it back in the packet, which is what I do. So that's another reason, I would say, why Seabrook is slightly superior to other brands. A lot of other brands do have bad crisps. Anyway, listen to me waffling on. Let's try one of the crisps. Right, so I've been eyeing up what I think is the largest crisp in the bowl. That's this one. And I'm hoping to demonstrate my crisp eating skills by consuming this in one mouthful. So wish me luck. The first taste. Very, very pleasing indeed. As you could no doubt hear, plenty of crispness to it. Obviously, crispiness is the, crisp is the stem of crispiness, so that's expected. Despite being just sea salted, very, very flavourful. There's a bit of a sort of almost a burnty taste going on there. Not burnt, but just that sort of flavour which I enjoy on sort of barbecue foods and such. That's there. The texture, the crinkliness, spot on, something I very much enjoy. So there's a lot going for these crisps, and like I say, these are just the plain salted crisps. Excellent indeed. Anyway, let's move on and have a bit of background on the crisp. The crisp, or potato chip to those in America, which I'm not going to say anything about except for what nonsense, can be traced back to 1817 and a book by William Kitchener detailing the process of frying slices of potato in lard or dripping. It wouldn't be until the 20th century though that crisps became a mass-produced affair. Up until this point, crisps would be prepared by chefs in restaurants as quite an extravagant delicacy. It would be the Irish crisp company Tayto that pioneered the production of seasoned crisps with their cheese and onion flavour in 1954. Paving the way towards the modern crisp and its myriad of flavours that we enjoy today. In the same year, 1954, the first flavoured crisps were made available in the US, where they decided to call them chips, goodness sake, and were predictably barbecue flavour. Seabrook Crisp Limited was founded 80 years ago, that's their anniversary this year I believe, in 1945, out of Bradford, England by Charles Brook. And they're known for their bold flavours as well as their traditional approach to crisp making. No Brussels sprout flavoured crisps found here. Right, so before we take a close look at the new Dapple Wagon, I thought I would just give you a close look at one of the crisps, which I have here on a piece of track propped up by an egg cup. The egg cup obviously for practicality, and of course the piece of track is here for the sake of familiarity, comfort and tradition. But yes, here is one of the crisps, the second largest, obviously because I've eaten the largest crisp that I could find in the bag. So the first thing to talk about, I think it's the elephant in the room really, and it's the crinkle cut nature of these crisps. Now, the leading brand of crisp here in the UK, Walker's, their flagship crisps are not crinkle cut, they are straight cut. They are made from straight slices of potato. Now, I should say Walker's do also produce crinkle cut crisps, but I would say that they are somewhat less common. However, Seabrook's flagship crisps are crinkle cut by default. Now that makes a bit of a difference in my opinion. First of all, you've got a slightly more enjoyable texture. Maybe you will find it less enjoyable, I find it more so. But also the flavouring of the crisps has a tendency to kind of get trapped in these crinkles, which I find results in a more flavourful crisp. It's less noticeable here with the salted crisps, but when I try the cheese and onion crisps later on, I think that is going to be more pronounced. You find much the same thing with, I suppose, one of the other leading brands of crinkle cut in the UK, and that would be McCoy's crisps. And the same is very much true of those. They are incredibly flavourful compared with Walker's, let's say. So if you like your stronger, more pronounced flavours, I would say crinkle cut like this are your friend. If you prefer milder flavours, then I would say straight cut crisps are your friend, but that's not a hard and fast rule. There are plenty of straight cut crisps that are incredibly flavourful indeed, and some of them in fact can be quite spicy and therefore painful. But yeah, as a general rule of thumb, that is what we find with the crinkle cut crisps. Second of all, lovely golden colour to these. Not one crisp was burnt in the pack, I did check. A little bit golden around the edges perhaps, but yeah, generally an excellent colour. What I don't like is a pallid crisp, and that's normally what you get with crisps around this sort of price point. I'm thinking specifically of the Sainsbury's own brand crisps. Very inexpensive, can't complain about the price, but I do find that you get them out of the bag, they're very thin, very pallid looking. These, nice and golden, I like that a lot. Also, the thickness of each slice is excellent as well. Obviously, too thin and you get an unsatisfying crisp. Too thick and you get an increasingly inedible and unchewable crisp, to the point, of course, where if the slices became so large, you would just end up with a potato, and then you'd have a fried potato and not a crisp. So yeah, excellent thickness, can't fault it at all. Even though this is the most basic flavour Seabrook makes, it's still very, very enjoyable. And with that, let's move on and have just a quick look at the wagon. So this is very much the same kind of standard, inexpensive Dapol van that I've looked at many times. So I'm not going to talk too much about the level of detail. If you want to know more about that, check out the video in the top right now. What is different about this though is of course the decoration, which I will talk about. So, excellent red colour, matches the Seabrook ready salted livery just perfectly. And then of course we've got the Seabrook decoration on the side here, which looks really, really good. Yeah, I think Dapol recently got a new UV printer. Whether this has been done on that or not, I'm not sure, but I would say the quality of this printing looks a little bit better. You can kind of see the red of the body through the white of the Seabrook logo though, which is not something you can see on the front of the crisp packet, so that's not 100% perfect, but certainly from any sort of distance this looks excellent, and of course it's a rare opportunity to own a van with this brand on it. Similar sort of thing with the roof, which has been painted into the Seabrook white. Yeah, generally not that well done. The ventilators have the red paint showing through on them as well. So yeah, perhaps a bit more attention to the spraying of the roof would have been better. Because, to be clear, these models usually cost about 11, 12, 13 pounds, something like that. This cost 20 with a bag of crisps, and like I say, Seabrook crisps, not very expensive, so not a lot of the price of the product can be attributed to the bag of crisps. But yeah, it's absolutely fine. Not entirely sure how well this is going to run because it does have a wobbly wheel on it. But just here it seems all right, I would say. So let's get it down onto the track and let's see how it performs. So here is today's test setup then. You'll be pleased to see no crisps in sight for the moment. But we've got the Bachmann 03 shunter to haul these wagons, and also besides the Seabrook wagon I've got some of the other vans that Dapol have produced, and they do make an enormous number of these kind of branded or sometimes fictional vans, which is really, really cool to see. It's something that we used to get all the time in this hobby, particularly with the brands, but not so much anymore, at least not until Dapol started doing it. My only quibble, well, my only grievance would be that we didn't get Cadbury's products bundled with the Cadbury's wagons. They would have sold a lot more to me alone if they'd done that. Anyway, let's talk about the free rolling test. Yeah, it was all right, not brilliant, visible wobbling in the wagon as it runs because of that wobbly wheel, and it made it down to just before the signal box. I think if it had straight wheels, it might have done a little bit more than that, but it's certainly not too stiff or anything. Anyway, let's test the couplings. These are the newly, well, they're not that new, it's been a while now, but yeah, newly adapted couplings for Dapol, and my 03's a bit sleepy. Come on, there we go. It has coupled though, that's good. All right. And let's see how it gets on around the track. No messing about today. All right, here we go. Yeah, it seems to be perfectly functional. Not keen on the wobbling, I have to say, in this day and age. Seems a shame that we've still not cracked the wobbly wheels. Well, Dapol haven't. Other brands seem to be okay, but yeah, this is not the first time we've come across wobbly wheels on these wagons. But then again, can't say too much about the performance. And on the grand scheme of things, I guess £20 for any wagon these days is pretty good, especially for one that comes with a bag of crisps. But yeah, apart from the wobbly wheels and slight slightly low quality decoration. There's very little wrong with this, and I'm personally very happy to have another brand in my collection. And honestly, if I had the space, I would collect probably all of these Dapper wagons, because a lot of them are sort of just over a tenner, so they don't break the bank too much. So they're fun to own, they add a lot of variety to the layout, particularly if it's a brand you enjoy, and I do enjoy the Seabrook crisps. It's a nice thing to have, and it's also a nice thing that you could buy as a gift for somebody else too. So yeah, I do like this a lot. Back to crisps again, sorry about that. It's just occurred to me that I actually had no reason to actually buy these crisps at all. All I wanted them for was a price comparison, and for that I could have just taken a picture of them in the supermarket, which I did, because obviously the price isn't written on this bag anyway. So because of some mental lapse, I did actually buy these, but then again, why not? It was £1.35 for 6 bags of them. I should be collecting these, frankly, instead of the trains. And I thought, you know, since I've got them, since I promised, and since I want to, I might as well just try one of these. So yeah, it's a slightly smaller bag, as a multi-pack, 25 grams as opposed to over 30, much over 30. That's the Bourneville wagon again. Hang on, it's derailed. Sodding Bourneville, foul, dark chocolate, nasty. Oh, for God's sake. Hang on, it's all derailed behind the bookcase. I'll try the crisps in a minute. No, I'll try the crisps now, and I'll deal with the mess in a second, because I'd have to move the camera. Right, cheese and onion, let's see if my theory about the crinkles amplifying the flavour comes to pass. Right. Yep, smells good. Well, there's a large one. Let's try that. Very flavourful. Yeah, it does. Particularly the aftertaste, I would say. Yes, it gets stronger the more you go, and that's because of the cheese powder, which has given them maybe a slightly yellower colour. No, perhaps not actually. Onion powder. Those powders have gotten stuck into the crinkles, which have amplified the flavour. Right. Excellent. Very, very nice. Money well spent. Anyway, I've got to put you off now because I've got to rescue the train and finish the review. Okay, let's have some ratings then. Now, because I don't want to ruin my logbook for the rest of the year by imbecilically reviewing a bag of crisps, I've decided for this I am going to focus on the wagon and be sensible. Plus, I'm not sure how I would evaluate the detail and performance of a crisp. Although I think if pushed, I could probably have had a go at it, but no, I'm not going to. Level of detail then, yeah, this is a basic wagon. It dates back a long time, old tooling, not great in the level of detail, 2-star, same as before. Performance, yeah, it's all right. It couples fine, it runs okay. A little bit of a wobble to it though because of the wobbly wheel. That's not great, doesn't seem to cause too many problems though, 4-star. Quality then, now again, it's not a massively high quality model. Plastic construction, again, slightly wobbly wheels, and the painting, not 100% brilliant up on the roof, but otherwise, because of its simplicity, there's no wonky parts, there's no visible glue, there's nothing to drop off it really. So yeah, a fair quality model, I would say, 4-star. Value for money then. Now, these wagons usually cost sort of £11 to £12, something like that. This one is quite a bit more because obviously it's connected with a brand, and you also get a free bag of crisps with it as well. So it's not as good value as usual. It's not the usual 5-star bargain, but then again, this is the only way you can get the Seabrook wagon. So again, not terrible value, 4-star. Overall then, that is 6.59 out of 10, or a grade of E. Yeah, it's not an amazing wagon, but it's not supposed to be. It's a bit of novelty, bit of fun, would make a great gift. Not a great serious model, but then again, I don't think anybody thought it was supposed to be. So into the logbook for the year then, and it is 3rd place, just below the Bachmann ZDO. For what it is though, yeah, I think it's absolutely fine, and it is a great bit of fun. So there you have it then folks, that will do it for my review of the new Dapol / Rails of Sheffield Seabrook Crisp Wagon. Yeah, like I say, it's far from the greatest wagon in the world, but it's a good bit of fun. It's yet another brand that I don't think has been done before in 00. And of course, it comes with the crisps, which is a real bonus. Likewise with the crisps, really. I wouldn't say Seabrook are the greatest crisps in the world. I've certainly had more expensive brands, which I would say were nicer, but honestly, I prefer Seabrook and I have them quite often. And that's because they're just a really good price, and most crisps that are that cheap are far less pleasant to eat. So what I would say is that you can get the highest levels of excellence at the lowest possible price with these, and that's why I like to have these. Like I say, not sponsored by Seabrook. I just happen to enjoy those crisps. And having said that, Seabrook, if you see this video and you'd like to sponsor Sam's Trains, I actually think that could be quite amusing. Yeah, Seabrook crisps, the perfect companion to the lonely modeler. No, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, this was just a bit of fun. I apologise for wasting all this time talking about crisps, but it was a good excuse to eat some crisps and talk about crisps, and also obviously run a bit of a train as well. But anyway, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, everybody.